all members and officers to this meeting of the Licensing Subcommittee, which, due to government advice to practice social distancing, will be held virtually. The open part of the meeting is being recorded and will be available via the Council's website to be viewed as soon as it is practicable following this meeting. Everyone participating in this meeting will be accessing this meeting from remote locations. Please could everybody ensure that mobile phones are switched off or onto silent mode. Members will have received an electronic copy of the agenda. I will ask officers to present a summary of the key points. For the record, this agenda can be viewed on the Council's website. Members, officers, and any other participants will be speaking at various points during the meeting, and those speaking may switch their cameras on at that point. But I would ask that, with the exception of myself, at all times, you keep your cameras and microphones switched off, as this will help to minimize any background noise. If any members and officers wish to raise a point or question, they should press the hands up icon on the screen. Please do not use your microphones until I invite you to do so. Please also lower your hand once you have finished speaking. The chat button has been disabled for the meeting. Officers from Democratic Services will be supporting the meeting and will be monitoring the use of microphones throughout the meeting, and where necessary will mute those not being used. Before we formally commence, I will now ask the officer from Democratic Services to announce the names of the councillors in attendance at the meeting. I would also ask the officers and any other speakers to introduce themselves as and when I invite them to speak during the course of the meeting. They too should ensure microphones and cameras are switched off. With that, I hand you over to Mark. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Members present today are Councillor Aniel Pachella, Councillor David Lewis, Chair, Councillor Gary Thomas, Councillor Julia Williams, Councillor Mike Kern, Councillor Tom Beadle. For the benefit of the recording, my name is Mark Galvin and I'm Senior Democratic Services Officer Committees. I'll take the minute today. I'm accompanied by Mr. Mike Pittman, who's Democratic Services Officer, who's looking after the electronics. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mark. With that, we go into the agenda. Firstly, apologies for absence.
We have one apology, Chair, from Councillor Richard Collins.
Okay, thank you. Declarations of interest. No. Okay, we go in to item 3, application for licensed private hire vehicle. With that, I hand you over to Yvonne.
Thank you, Chair. Yvonne Witchell, Team Manager for Licensing. As the Chair has said, I will just briefly run through the report before you, the purpose of which is to ask the subcommittee to determine an application to grant a licence for a private hire vehicle which falls outside the age policy guidelines adopted by the Licensing Committee. We have sent a copy of the report to Mr. Lee. I would just ask at this point if he just pop in and just confirm he has received a copy of the report, please.
I have received a copy, yes.
Thank you, Robin. So the application before you has been made by Mr. Robin Lee, and it's to license an Audi A6 as a private hire vehicle to seat 4 persons. The vehicle is pre-owned and was first registered at the DVLA on the 29th of September 2011, and the number plate has been changed during the course of the application. The vehicle falls outside the age policy guidelines for the first licensing of vehicles, which is set out within your report, and it does not fall within the category of a minibus wheelchair accessible vehicle fitted with a tail lift, where there is a relaxation of the policy of vehicles which are presented for first licensing being up to 5 years old. Within your application, Mr. Lee has submitted supporting documentation consisting of the V5 registration certificate, a service history and an MOT certificate to accompany the application. And the last MOT certification is attached at Appendix B to your report. As members will recall, they considered a policy review in November 2020, which was following a trade impetus to relax the age policy guidelines for the first licensing of hackney carriage and private hire vehicles. And that policy came into effect on the 1st of February 2021. So as set out within your report, vehicles submitting for licensing for the first time must be less than 5 years old from the date of first registration, except for the minibus type vehicles, which are fitted with the permanent automated tail lifts, which may be up to 10 years on first licensing. And the policy guidelines apply equally to both hackney carriage and private hire vehicles. Members approved an exception on those cases, but also considered that there was no upper age limit possible for vehicle licensing. So effectively, any vehicle will start its life as a passenger carrying vehicle at the age of normally 5 years. And this vehicle is almost 10 years old. That is the report that we have before you for the moment. I'm happy to take any questions.
No, don't appear to be any questions, Yvonne. Thank you for that. Mr. Lee, I wonder if you could come in, please, and add any extra information or
What would you like to know about the car? The A6, it's the Avant S-Line model. It's the reason why I bought it was due to the condition of it. It's I don't know if you have the photos there, but it is exceptional. It's got the full service history, full Audi history. There's not a mark on it. There's a mark inside it. There's nothing, absolutely. In fact, there was one mark on the wheels when I had it, literally an inch long. And then I had the wheels professionally refurbed so they would look like showroom. So that's the car. I mean, there's nothing really to tell you about it, apart from if you've got the photos there, what you can see in front of you.
Well, unfortunately, I certainly haven't seen any photos.
Right. Okay. Well, they were taken on the day that it came to the council for the licensing officer to inspect it. So I can't answer why that hasn't happened.
Yvonne, can you come in there, please, and give an explanation of what the applicant is saying?
Yeah, Chair, we didn't have this particular type of vehicle on the fleet, so the officer measured the seats at that point. I didn't receive the photographs of the vehicle because there would have been no reason for photographs other than the seats actually met the minimum guidelines set out within our conditions.
Right.
So Chair, it's a matter for you now and to consider whether you want to adjourn the committee to receive the photographs, because obviously the applicant should have presented them when the application was made.
Well, no, I wasn't told to present any photographs, so it wasn't down to me to present them, but I'll happily go outside and show you the vehicle now because it's outside. It's not a major issue.
Well, it's not, in fairness, the policy is the policy, and it does say that the vehicle has got to be 5 years old. So it's a matter.
But as you just
can
said,
I just finish? Let me just finish what I'm telling you is that the policy is the policy.
At no point was
I'm trying to explain to you.
At no point was I asked to present any photographs of the vehicle.
I just explained to you that the policy says 5 years old. If you want the licensing committee to determine whether that falls outside the actual policy, which being consulted with the trade, then it's not for the licensing officers to tell you what to produce. It's up to you to produce anything in support of your application to make them want to depart from their policy.
There
So
were
in
photographs
fairness,
taken of the vehicle when I brought it down to the council for them to inspect it.
but they, Yvonne is saying those photographs weren't handed in.
But that's
They
not
were,
down to me, is it?
well,
If
yeah,
the
it is.
licensing officer, no. If the licensing
Right,
officer
we're not getting
hasn't,
anywhere. Can we move
please.
on, please, with the
No, we
chair?
can't move
And
forward because what you're not letting me finish. If the if the council licensing enforcement officer takes photos of the vehicle and doesn't present them, that's not down to me.
no, because I've just explained to you, it's not for the licensing officer, it's for you to present.
So why would
them.
you take photos of the car then?
Yvonne has already explained to ensure that the measurements of the seat.
No,
because
that's the seats. Why would you take photos of the car?
she was saying just for the measurements of the seat, but this is not
So
getting
the
us
outside,
anywhere.
so
So
hang on.
it's a
So
matter.
that
It's a
doesn't make
matter
sense
for
what
you.
you're saying, because what you're saying is when the photographs were taken of the outside of the car, that was for the measurements of the seat.
Yvonne, do you want to explain again? Because I wasn't
You
present.
don't need to explain. What you're saying doesn't make sense.
Chair, can I come in, please?
Mr. Lee, could I just say it is extremely difficult for this committee to make a decision without seeing the vehicle.
I just
Now
offered.
we can either do one of two things: determine the decision today or adjourn.
I'll go out to the vehicle now. So.
Oh.
Right.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh.
So I'm just trying to load it up now so you can actually see the photos. I putting the video on. So.
Chair, asking to put the video on and go around the car, please.
I'm trying to do that now.
Thank you.
It won't allow me whilst we're in the meeting to do that. I don't know why. So unfortunately, because they won't let me join the video whilst I'm in chat, I don't know why I can't show you the car.
So it's a matter for you then, Chair, whether you want to proceed on the basis of the information you got or whether you want to adjourn it.
Well, to be fair to Mr. Lee, I think we should adjourn it. But having said that, it's outside the policy, you know, so.
So can we ask Mr. Lee, do you want the committee to proceed on the basis of the information they've got, or would you like an
I'd like him
adjournment?
to proceed actually, because I think I know what's coming here. But the fact is that you know, reverting back to what we were saying about photographs being taken, there were photos taken of the exterior of the car. The exterior. Yes, the seats were measured, right? But the exterior of the car was photographs were taken, and guess what? They're not there. And now it's down to me to provide them when they were taken. So you're going to make a decision now on something you can't see. I can't put the vehicle into the video for whatever reason, and you're going to make your decision. So make it, you know. But I just think it's really unfair if the car gets refused, considering some of the vehicles that are out there at the moment that are being plated. But you know, it's your choice. I know that there's photos out there. I know that there's photos that were taken on that day.
As it has been explained by Andrea, it's up to you to provide the evidence.
Well, so can you explain to me why photographs were taken of the car then? When the car was brought down to the council for inspection, right, why were photographs taken of the car?
The only person who can explain that is Yvonne. Yvonne? Can the licensing officer come in, please?
I've just emailed the office back, and the response is photographs weren't requested because the car was only being asked to be measured because we didn't have that particular one on the fleet.
Thank you, Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Lee, I think in fairness to you, a lot is being said now about the photographs of the car, who should have provided them and things like that. And I can see that you're getting annoyed about that, and rightly so. If you've come here today and you think your application is going to be rejected because of photographs. But from our point of view, certainly my point of view, even with photographs, your car is still 5 years out of our policy. It's still starting its licensing life at 10 years old. You referred to other vehicles that are being plated out there. Well, are they vehicles that we've allowed that are over 10 years old? I don't think so.
My vehicle is not over 10 years old. My vehicle is under 10 years old, but you have plated vehicles that are over 5 years old. Yes, you have.
Yes, but your vehicle is starting. It's nearly 10 years old. Then I think you are splitting hairs there. 2011, 2021.
No, I'm going back on what you said. You said the vehicle was over 10 years old, and I said no, it's not.
Okay. So, you seem to have got a little bit of anger in your voice here.
No. Well, you're saying things that aren't true. That's why I'm putting you straight. You said it's
okay. Your vehicle is not. Okay, your vehicle is 9 years old then.
Right.
Okay. It's still 4
I think
years.
we should defer this because it's getting out of hand now.
I agree.
We're trying to be lenient here.
There are
we're trying to
vehicles out
get the
there
evidence, and we haven't got the evidence.
May I, Mr. Lee, may I come in and say now, we can either make a decision now, and because you're outside the policy, we tell you today that no, there's no, we aren't allowing it, or do we adjourn? What would your preference be?
Well, you've already decided. You just told me there that if you decide today, you're going to decide no. That's what you just told me, yes?
No, that's not what the chair meant. He said that.
That's what he said.
Well, no, what the chair's saying,
Well,
they could decide it's outside the policy.
States 10 years old. We have not seen the vehicle. Therefore, we'd have no alternative. We can't go grant licenses for vehicles we haven't seen.
Right.
So it's a case of either you providing that evidence so we can meet again and make the decision, or we decide today without any evidence.
But you had, as this is mental, I was told to join this meeting for a decision to be made. Photographs were taken of the vehicle and they were given then to what I was told, the report that was coming in, right? No problem at all. And it hasn't come. So the photos are not there. And what you're saying to me is that there's a good chance it's going to be refused anyway with the photos because the vehicle is, as you said, nearly 10 years old. All right. So if the likelihood is that it's
unless there are exceptional circumstances.
Well,
but we
exceptional circumstances are that this vehicle, you know, as I was told when I brought it down, was in exceptional condition.
Right, Chair, can I just come in from this point of view?
Yeah.
My advice to you would be to adjourn this meeting because there is some confusion over photographs being taken. The applicant thinks that they were going to be submitted in support of this application. That's not taking place. So my advice would be to you is, in order to hear this matter properly, that you should adjourn it, and then it's up to the applicant. Then, if we can make it quite clear now that it's up to the applicant to submit whatever evidence, whether it's engineers' reports, mechanic reports, or photographs, then he produces them if he wants them considered by the committee before the next meeting.
And when would the next meeting be?
Yvonne, when is the next meeting?
I think I need to check with Democratic whether we can actually call a meeting outside of the schedule, Chair, in these circumstances. Would that be appropriate?
It would be appropriate, yes. Ordinarily, this application would be considered by the other licensing subcommittee B, not A, which is different members, if we submitted this application to the next scheduled meeting. Although, having said that, we could organise a special meeting of licensing subcommittee A of the members today, in between the dates, between now and the date of the next licensing subcommittee B meeting. So it's that's the choices you've got basically.
So can I come back in there then, Mark? It's going to have to be this because it's an adjournment, so it's got to have to be the same committee.
Right,
So can I suggest then that we reschedule as soon as possible? But then I need to put to you, the applicant, Mr. Lee, how long is it going to take you to get the evidence together to present it to the committee?
1 hour.
Right, okay, so we can then relist it as soon as Mark, you're going to have to put something in where everyone's available.
Okay, it's up to members if are the members all free later today or on an alternative date that
Well, it won't be.
it's over to members rather than.
Yeah, it's going to have to be members. Can you can we do something? Because my calendar is going to be an issue as well. So can we do members available on Friday?
Yes, I am.
Other members?
Chair, I got Port Health Friday and I'm going to away in the afternoon. So I won't be available.
I'm not available.
Oh, neither am I available.
Right, I tell you what then, if you can
Sorry a sec.
if you can
Sorry, I can be at 9 o'clock in the morning, Friday morning.
Right, can everybody else do 9 o'clock Friday morning?
Yeah, I can do Friday 9 o'clock.
Yes, Andrea, I can do Friday morning on the 16th. Yes, thank you.
Councillor Williams?
Yes,
Friday,
I can do 9 o'clock. Yes.
Friday, I can,
Yes, I can do 9 o'clock.
Okay, then. So should we adjourn till
I
9?
can't make it at 9. It'll have to be 10 for me. Sorry.
Right. Can
I'll have to stay and have to give my apologies, Port Health delegates. I'll make it here at 10, all right? Yeah.
Well, as long as we're quorate, I can't make 10 either. But from Mr. Lee's point of view, as long as we're quorate, I suppose it'll go through.
I'll give my apologies, Port Health. All right, Dave?
Right.
Yeah.
Councillor Beadle, can you be here at 10?
Oh, that's interesting. I suppose I can defer my travel for another hour.
Okay, then. So it's 10 o'clock on Friday, but to the applicant, can you please make sure you submit anything that you want the committee to consider?
Well, what are you asking for? Just photos of the vehicle, isn't it?
The video will be good.
What, sorry?
A video, the one of the members said would be good.
Basically, anything which you think you could provide, which enhances your chances of getting it licensed.
Yeah, but what are you asking for? I mean, you've got the service history there. If there's only the exterior and the interior photos you want of the vehicle, then is that sufficient? Or, what else are you asking for? I don't...
Well, if I can just make it clear, the committee are not asking for anything because the burden of proof is on you. You have to prove. You're not letting me explain again, are you? I'm trying to explain.
I'm not letting you explain. You said to me you wanted photos of the vehicle. I'm saying to you,
no, we didn't say. The committee didn't say they particularly wanted photos. They said, I need to make it completely clear to you that you need to produce anything that you want to produce to persuade the committee to license your vehicle.
Because I'm saying to you, do you want photos of the vehicle? You're saying the committee doesn't want photos of the vehicle. So what do you want then? You tell me what you want.
You said you had your vehicle was photographed when you brought it to the council premises. Right. You thought those photographs were going to be produced. So if you want the committee to have photographs, because that will assist them seeing photographs of the vehicle.
How else will a committee see it if they don't send photos in?
Exactly. So if you want them to see photos of it, then send your photos in.
And as I said to you, what else would you want?
Well, it's a matter for you, isn't it? But you could have mechanical reports. You could have an engineer's report. You could submit anything that you wanted to, but to persuade the committee to depart from their policy. So it's a matter for you. It's a matter for you what you want to produce.
Okay. But you can't tell me what you want. You can't tell me what you require. right? Apart from you want to see the vehicle. That's
Well, all we can point you to is the policy says the vehicle's got to be under 5 years old to be licensed, unless in exceptional circumstances, and of course unless it's adapted for wheelchair use. So it's up to you now to, when you need to consider that policy and persuade the committee why it falls within the exceptional circumstances. So that's why the policy clearly says 5 years. So if you want to go outside the 5 years, you have to persuade them. So it's not for them to tell them what they want. What they're saying to you is photographs would be helpful because they could at least see the vehicle. So it's a matter for you now what you want to produce to persuade the committee.
Right. Okay.
Right, so can we call, Chair, can you call the meeting to an end, and can all members and licensing officers stay, please, for the rest of the meeting when the applicant leaves?
Yeah, certainly. With that, I'll close the meeting. We will then get together on Friday.
Thank you, Chair.